In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what to look for on Bitcoin's chart if you want to see it hit a new all-time high. I'll also explain why Ethereum's value area is so crucial and why getting price action into that zone matters more than you might think. Keep an eye on the altcoins too. XRP is right on the verge of breaking a key structure to the upside. We're seeing similar setups in BNB and SUI, and Solana has already cleared its structure. What does all of this mean? Let's dive in. As you already know, Bitcoin is flirting with its historic highs. After the last major accumulation phase, the price jumped by a whopping 42%. That said, we've hit a pause, a sort of trap pullback that we've been highlighting in previous videos, one that we gave a lot of weight to because it was entirely plausible and in fact something we were watching for. So let's break down where we stand now, why this pullback could actually set us up for the next big move, and what levels you need to watch to confirm it. And the fact that Bitcoin generated a bearish trap below this structure, a true key defense zone, and not only trapped sellers, but then reclaimed the structure with a powerful bullish impulse. All of this sends us signals to be very positive about the crypto ecosystem, at least if we prioritize that directional bias. That's why through cross-analysis, where we examine different crypto assets and cross-section our findings, we can extract the key interpretations that let us track and ride this bullish momentum in crypto. In previous videos, we saw that this climactic bearish action was accompanied by heavy trading volume, and I'll zoom in on the delta so you can see it more clearly. That bearish candle was driven by aggressive sellers, a sell-off that, as you can see, led nowhere. And as I mentioned before, the immediate imperial forceful recovery is a clear sign that in this area they've absorbed the unsuspecting sellers who, without a doubt, aren't part of Crypto Insight. Because, like I said, here at Crypto Insight, we were expecting that climactic bearish move right from this zone. We wanted to see that bearish trap so we could then witness the sharp recovery to the upside. And now, looking at the strong bullish impulse following the trap recovery, on one hand, it's true, there's a bit of a slowdown in that thrust, and isolated that wouldn't be wildly bullish, but when you take the macro context into account, honestly, we're not worried. More than debating whether it scares us or not, what we can do is track how certain structures may hold or break, because if Bitcoin can defend this key zone, then we could very well see continued upside momentum. But this becomes far clearer when we bring other assets into the picture, especially Ethereum, which we're about to use, like an RSI, a MACD, a moving average, or Bollinger Bands. Call it what you like. Right now on screen, you're seeing a custom indicator tailored to today's crypto context. By understanding how supply and demand work in financial markets, we can see a price range where there's been consensus, where the market agreed to trade for a long time. That agreement zone gives us critical insight into the balance of power between buyers and sellers. In other words, when we use a volume profile to analyze the value area, it's in this zone that we know the market truly finds value. For those new to studying volume, this means traders of this asset are in strong agreement about buying or selling at this specific price level. They made that clear just recently. So, seeing this bearish swing, which is essentially the same kind of trap we were expecting in Bitcoin, we now observe Ethereum's price rushing right back toward its value area. Here's the key point. When we witness a significant breakout from a value area, as we're seeing with Ethereum, the fact that it then rebounds and gets so close to re-entering is a red flag for a potential value acceptance in the exact zone where investors previously agreed to transact. What do I mean by that? When price moves away from the value area as dramatically as it did, a recovery back into that zone usually signals that investors want to return and trade there. And since we recognize this event as a trap, it's very likely that this setup is designed to absorb the less informed sellers before the market continues its next leg higher. We see this happening all the time. Obviously, nothing here is guaranteed, but what we can say is that we're very close to ticking off the first requirement to stay super bullish on crypto. Something I'll tell you straight from Crypto Insight. We remain positive and don't see any reason to turn negative on the ecosystem. What I'm getting at is this. If Ethereum can reclaim its value area, in other words, if you see Ethereum's price climbing back and then staying around that zone, trading, it's a big win that paves the way for the next leg up. Think about how key this is. Every time Ethereum has tried to push back into that zone after the trap, the zone has basically said, not so fast, stay out. It tried once and the zone shut it down. It tried again, same story, and again, still rejected. Now, imagine what's happening behind the scenes. There are a ton of investors long, a ton of investors short, a big mix of positions on both sides. Those are the conditions that set the stage for the market to absorb the losers and then really drive things higher. It's normal that after a detachment, when price returns to the zone, given the open open interest hanging over that level. Those same investors decide to close their positions, whether they're stopped out or break even, because prices come back to their entry, or they simply take profits after seeing gains now slipping away. It doesn't matter if they're longs or shorts, knowing there's been heavy transactional volume here is key. If buying pressure proves powerful, like an Iliotoperia right hook, it will show itself by breaking through and reclaiming the zone. That would mean all the liquidity in this area I've been highlighting is satisfied, there's no greater obstacle, and so we press on higher. Here's the logic, but you'll understand it a lot better once we analyze other altcoins, and I promise you'll be blown away. Think Oliveira level shock. I'll break it all down for you, but first...
Welcome to Crypto Insight, your ethical and moral channel for cryptocurrency technical analysis. Here, we really know what we're talking about. We conduct advanced technical analysis that has been developed for over 12 years. We upload videos several times a week. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, let me know and leave a comment with your opinion. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so you don't miss the next opportunity.
Let's look at assets like XRP. As you can see on the 4-hour chart, XRP is working on this creek pattern. It's a key structure that honestly might need a bit more time before it finally breaks and rewards us, meaning that crypto in general might not push higher immediately. But don't worry, to know whether they're going to accelerate straight away or take their time before breaking through, I'll soon explain exactly what you need to watch so you can more accurately gauge one scenario versus the other. First, let's lay out XRP's critical situation. It's knocking on the door of this creek. If you look at BNB, it's also working on a creek, another pivotal point that it hasn't quite contacted yet. It's close, no worries. It could be that they want to chew up a little time before moving on, or everything might just rocket forward. I'll now show you how we'll track it. But before that, I'm going to explain the link. For me, the link is fundamental if we want to see immediate bullish action. I say immediate, even though we're looking at a 4-hour chart, but as long as this zone around $12.66 holds, we can expect that bullish continuation right away. Check how friendly we are, even tolerating a drop. And over at SUI, we're hitting a creek pattern and deciding whether we're going to take our time before breaking it or snap straight through sooner rather than later. Here's the crypto conundrum in this context. It's called Solana. Notice how it worked on a creek that it's already broken, but now watch what I'm showing on screen and what it means. On one hand, Solana could be our guardian angel giving us a heads up. Yeah, I broke a creek, and of course, I might pull back for a test, maybe to hunt liquidity, but then I'm off to the upside. Solana could be warning us about those assets we just looked at, the ones knocking on a creek's door to see if they'll break higher or not. Solana could be telling us, hey, I'm ready, but equally it could be warning us, hold on, don't get too optimistic, this might be a trap, because the rest of the assets haven't cleared their creeks, yet Solana magically has. That makes us think maybe this is a trap, and in the short term, crypto might need to take its time. This idea is reinforced by identifying this structure, which will decide whether to prioritize or not. Right now, I'm inclined to ignore it, and I'll explain why. If we believe time needs to be consumed, what we need to see in Solana is a pullback to retest the creek. If it fails to reclaim that level, it's a clear sign we'll need more time there, and recovery of the structure would confirm we're working on something like this. So remember this, if you want to see the market's bullish thesis play out immediately, in Solana you can allow at most a creek retest or a quick liquidity grab, but you must demand a swift recovery, otherwise nothing's happening, friends. It's straight up from here. That's Solana's message to us. Here's what Ethereum is telling us. If you're hunting for immediate bullish follow-through in crypto, you need to see Ethereum reclaim its value area. If it re-enters that zone, it's very likely to noodle around there, testing and consolidating before launching the next move. So fixate on whether we can get in without being rejected immediately, whether we can stay in for the ride. See the concept? And with Bitcoin's chart, what we're saying is that we can absolutely allow Bitcoin to pull back. Let it revisit its defense zone on the 4-hour time frame and even set up a trap scenario. Nothing's wrong with that, as long as price is capable of recovering. In that scenario, we stay bullish and start speculating on a breakout of this structure that would take us to new all-time highs. To determine whether we'll go through a period of time consumption before the next crypto rally, here's what you need to watch next. First, look look at Solana. If you see Solana reclaim the creek support on the downside, but then fail to get back above it, it's very likely the entire crypto ecosystem, including Bitcoin, will end up consuming time. Not because Solana dictates things, but because if Solana does it, Bitcoin probably already did it first. We just lean on Solana's action to speculate on Bitcoin's next move. And the same goes for BNB. If it tries to break its structure, sets a trap, then reverses, we'll probably need some time before moving higher. Whether that drag lasts a little or a lot, we're still bullish. We're just measuring how long the pause will be. Similarly, Chainlink warns us of the same pattern. A slight dip is fine, but if it recovers quickly, eyes up, we're off to the races. But if Chainlink, like XRP, Solana, and BNB, loses that zone and can't reclaim it, we're in for a time-consuming consolidation. That said, I'm not a huge fan of using Chainlink for this follow-up, so I'll show you a better gauge next. I'd actually use it more as a proxy to simply gauge whether we can stay bullish or not. In other words, if the zone holds, great, eyes up. That's why we want to use Chainlink here, and the same goes for Sweet. If you see a breakout that fizzles, watch out. We could need some time before moving higher. You can use these indicators to tell whether we'll spend time consolidating before eventually rallying. Listen, I've shown you a set of assets that help you understand if we'll take a pause to the downside before the next leg up, and I've shown you others that define the boundary of that pullback, like SUI, which would imply a pretty immediate bounce. I hope that makes sense. With that said, I'd love to hear your take on the crypto markets. Are you as optimistic and bullish as we are? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this advanced technical analysis, hit like, subscribe, and click the bell so YouTube notifies you of future uploads. Good luck with your investments, and I'll see you next time.